Before I begin, take this as the average body shape of a man in the early 1890s. This is that of a man in the 1990s. Just about a period of 100 years, and the Earth is already suffering from an epidemic of obesity. Without hesitation, saturated fat in unhealthy diet is held responsible for this evolutionary change in the shape of humans. It has been over 40 years since the overall intake of dietary fat per person reduced, and the results, not as you would expect, a surge in the global rate of obesity and type 2 diabetes. Upon further research, food scientists have realized that too much consumption of saturated fat is responsible for the global prevalence of diseases and obesity. However, it is not alone. Too much intake of refined sugar is the biggest culprit. According to the World Health Organization, more people suffer from obesity and diabetes in the world than from hunger and malnutrition. Majority of the chronic diseases related to the high intake of sugar are far more life-threatening. The average person consumes about 24 kilograms of refined sugar each year. That is about half the standard bag of sugar on the international market. On average, humans live up to 72.6 years. This means an individual consumes about 35 bags of sugar in a lifetime. In North and South America, one person is capable of consuming up to 50 kilograms of refined sugar per year. Africans are the least consumers, with an annual consumption rate of under 20 kilograms of sugar per person. Two main crops are used in the production of sugar: sugarcane and sugar beets. These plants do not belong to the same family. However, the end product is almost the same, no matter which plant is used to manufacture the sugar. Now, refined sugar is normally a type of carbohydrate that is highly processed and also with a very low nutritional value. It is primarily composed of two molecules, about 50% of glucose and also 50% of fructose. Inside the digestive system, the glucose is perfectly utilized by nearly every cell in the body for maximum energy. However, the fructose undergoes a unique metabolic process. The fructose metabolizes almost exclusively in the liver. This is where most of the dangerous health effects of sugar begins. Inside the liver, too much of fructose is converted into fat. The excess fat in the liver then initiates the production of a harmful type of cholesterol known as small dense LDL, low density lipoprotein. LDL cholesterol is often referred to as bad cholesterol because high levels can lead to a buildup of plaque in the arteries, which increases the risk of heart diseases and stroke. The buildup of plaque in the arteries is a condition known as atherosclerosis. This clearly indicates why cardiovascular or heart diseases are the leading cause of death in the world. Around 7 million people across the globe die from myocardial infarction, commonly known as heart attack, every single year. Over time, the accumulation of fat in the liver cells can also contribute to a condition known as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease can progress to a more severe liver condition, including liver inflammation and cirrhosis, a severe form of liver disease characterized by extensive scarring and impaired liver function. Approximately 430 million people across the earth are currently suffering from type 2 diabetes. The link between sugar and type 2 diabetes has been identified by many people. The pancreas is responsible for producing insulin, a hormone that regulates blood sugar levels by driving glucose from the bloodstream into the cells. When the human body consistently consumes high levels of sugar, the pancreas is forced to produce more insulin to keep blood sugar levels in check. Over time, this constant demand can exhaust the pancreas, leading to a decrease in insulin production. Concurrently, the cells in the body may also become less responsive to insulin, leading to insulin resistance. Once insulin resistance sets in, the blood sugar levels becomes chronically elevated, leading to type 2 diabetes. This condition is associated with a host of complications, including nerve damage, kidney failure, vision loss, and an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. The incidence of type 2 diabetes has skyrocketed in recent decades, in parallel with rising sugar consumption, especially in the form of sugary beverages and processed foods. The idea that sugar is the unique cause or contributor to diabetes is another debated issue. Many scientific studies have been conducted with different and inconsistent results. However, most of the studies conducted has found a link between sugar and diabetes, particularly higher intake of fructose. After cardiovascular or heart diseases, cancer is the second leading cause of death in the world. It has held this position for over 87 years. About 1 in 6 or 7 people worldwide will eventually die of cancer. A lot of studies on the link between sugar intake and cancer is ongoing, but the existing evidence is concerning enough to warrant caution. Many questions need to be answered to fully understand this complex relationship. Though there is still no clear evidence, a lot of findings from some of the completed studies shows an indirect link between high consumption of table sugar and increased risk of some type of cancers, including liver cancer, prostate cancer, pancreatic cancer, colon cancer, and breast cancer, as well as the overall cancer mortality rate. Sugar does not cause cancer. Studies have suggested that the role of dietary sugars in obesity might be the link to increased cancer risk. As a matter of fact, many studies have identified obesity as a strong risk factor for a number of cancers. Emerging research suggests that cancer cells thrive on glucose, and some studies have shown that high blood sugar levels may promote the growth of cancerous cells. Cancer cells are notorious for their rapid tumor growth and high energy needs. They require more glucose than normal cells to fuel their fast multiplication. This phenomenon is known as the Warburg effect, named after Otto Warburg, the scientist who first discovered that cancer cells have a high demand for glucose. When there is a high intake of refined sugar, glucose becomes abundant in the body. The excess glucose becomes absorbed by the cancer cells, giving them the energy they need to grow and multiply even faster. There is a type of chemical in the human brain called dopamine. It is a neurotransmitter, a type of chemical messenger in the brain that helps transmit signals between nerve cells. It is often referred to as the feel-good hormone because it is heavily involved in the brain's reward system. When the human body does something enjoyable, like eating a favorite food, dopamine is released, giving the body a sense of pleasure and satisfaction, and also reinforcing the desire to eat more of that food. Now, anytime an individual consumes refined sugar, the brain gets a dopamine boost. When the brain is constantly flooded with dopamine from eating too much sugar, it tries to adapt. Over time, the brain reduces the number of dopamine receptors available. This process is called dopamine downregulation. With fewer receptors available, the same amount of dopamine does not produce as much pleasure as it used to. As a result, the body may need even more sugar to get the same dopamine hit and feel good. This can create a vicious cycle leading to sugar addiction, where an individual is constantly chasing that fleeting sense of reward.